We're live.
Voltron Network.
What's up, guys, and welcome to the DC versus Marvel podcast, where we talk about the latest DC and Marvel movie news. My name is Uz, and I am your regular DC fanboy. And once again, in the red corner, representing Marvel Comics, and he's kind of like red because it's like boiling hot right now as well. Right?
Ridiculous, guys. We don't get this that much in this country. You have to appreciate that when the sun comes, we're not prepared. It hits us hard. Even
exactly, yeah.
Melanin in our skin, we still can't take
it. And if you want to see actually how hot it is in this country, go and Google UK weather. But don't Google it if you're anywhere from like, I don't know, anywhere south of the equator, because you'll laugh at us basically saying that's hot. But yeah, man, it's, when it gets hot, everybody starts to act a little bit funny as well,
crazy,
man.
And everyone throws off their clothes. It's like fiesta all day, every day.
yeah, exactly. It's kind of like, everybody you can see is acting a little bit odd there, man. So yeah.
What's good, guys? I'm happy to be here. I'm Idris Antonio.
And he is happy to be here. Is it? Yeah.
We skipped a week, so we've got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, and it's weird because we were saying a while back, and we said this for the past few weeks, that like, you know what, we're gonna struggle for news, right? But like,
never. I keep thinking it was everything that I'm a part of, even the wrestling one, but there's always something, some scandals or crazy gossip. There's always something.
This is a joke. You've actually kind of like pseudo got me back into wrestling now as well, because I've been like because these things are now coming up on my feed, these like like there's one thing called WrestleLamia, and there's another one, what's it called, culture wrestling is coming up on my feed now, so I'm watching the news on these kind of things, so I'm kind of like, okay, yeah, let me see a little bit about this and see what's going on.
You're in the scandals of like all the rape charges and underage girls that guys are sleeping with, coronavirus outbreaks that's happened now in WWE. It's like ridiculous, man. It's so crazy.
That WWE is basically like a soap opera on acid. Like it's like the most craziest kind of. I only watch it so I can kind of see, like what Vince McMahon is up to, like every single week, because oh man, that guy, I've been watching the Undertaker documentary, right? And it's like that guy's clearly bald, right? He's clearly bald, yeah. And he's like got some kind of toupee.
I don't think he is, because he did shave his hair a couple of years ago and it did grow back. So I think it's just the mad way his hair's growing.
No, you can't.
Legit, he shaved his hair a couple of years ago, maybe 10 now, but that's the shape his hair grows. It's just mad.
It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. But yeah, he's like, it's weird because I watched this one episode where Undertaker went to his, this is a comic book thing, guys, we say this every week, but yeah, basically Undertaker went to his office, and like he comes out and he's like a 70-year-old dude, but he's obviously like roided to hell, and he's flipping changes anything, right?
Now all the time, sleep 4 hours a day.
It's crazy, man. Imagine the effect that must cause, like long term. Like,
no, he should be right now at 77 years old. He should be deep in the grips of dementia right now, but somehow the guy still works all the time. He's still jacked to all hell. But that's what's fun. We're gonna get off this now, guys. Don't worry. But what's fun about wrestling isn't even what happens on the shows. It's the behind the scenes cluster F of just the business.
Yeah, exactly. Just the absolute craziness of everything that's going on. I got back in the day, my mum and pretty much my whole family used to watch wrestling, like everybody did, right? And like her favorite wrestler was the Undertaker. So I was like, look, there's this documentary on Undertaker, right? And they're in Turkey, they can't get it. So I've been sending her this documentary. So basically she's been like watching it, and she's like really getting, she's like, when's the next episode? It's like hilarious, man. So guys, check out that you know, that
Right. It's
podcast.
worth
If
it.
you
It's
wanna,
pretty good. And it's weird though, seeing him as a normal person talking normally. Like, I don't want this. I want his eyes rolled into the back of his head. I want him to have the deep gravelly voice. I want him to be chokeslamming people. What are you doing? Stop telling me about your
that
kid
is
wife. Ugh.
that is the thing is though, is that he, in a way, that's a really good thing, because
Yeah.
basically, like, he knows there's another guy, right, who I used to like when he first came. 'Cause I stopped watching it when there was just that thing coming when Brock Lesnar was in it.
Yeah.
And there was a guy called Bobby Lashley. I don't know if he's still in it now.
Yeah, he's back.
But he kind of came, and it was like they were trying to set up a thing, because they're both like American football guys, right? But he was like this huge, massive dude, right? And he's got this squeaky little kind of like voice, and it's like, it's so not intimidating, like, at all, right?
Come on, bro.
And it's like, no. What's his name?
Bobby Lashley.
Bobby Lashley.
Right.
Yeah. So he's like a huge, massive dude, and really he should have like a really, like, you know, more kind of intimidating voice. But it's like with Undertaker, it's kind of like he speaks like a normal dude, not like a 6'10", you know, massive kind of wrestler. And then he changes his voice into that kind of, you know, gravelly kind of thing. So he kind of, he knows it's a role and portrays it, man. But yeah, it's I don't know. I'm just getting weirdly into that again. So that's the thing. But guys, let's get into the comic book stuff, because there is a hell of a lot of stuff to get into. And
Traitor. Fake DC.
No, I'm wearing.
I see it. See? Your true feelings betrayed. You can see it there. See? All a lie, guys.
I told you. I don't mind Marvel. It's just the MCU is the
sure
the thing in the middle. And I actually, do you know what? I actually I recorded a video about a couple of new of the graphic novels that came, and I put it on our YouTube channel, right? And I was watching it back, and I was like, oh my god, I really went off on one, because I was talking about how I really like the fact that every single Batman villain has you know, has their own kind of thing, and there's a reason why they act in the way that they do, right? And the one thing I hate about the MCU is the fact that every single villain has got beef with Tony Stark for some reason, because Tony Stark wronged them for some reason or whatever. And literally half the video I'm just going off on that, without actually describing the graphic novel properly. So I'm sorry, guys, if I went a bit ranty on that there, basically. But yeah, Ed's is not
just doing it to cover his true feelings. He knows.
Ed's just not impressed. This I actually really like this T-shirt, because the only T-shirt that it comes from the Loot Crate thing, right? So they're all the same size. They're like large size. But for some reason, this is like, it feels more like open and like kind of like, what's it called? With the heat that it is at the moment, it's nicer to wear. So that's my excuse anyway. And so I'm just sticking with it, man. So dudes.
Faded Wolverine.
Jim Lee. Man. Oh, awesome. Yeah. Awesome. I need to get some more DC t-shirts. Actually, I will make it my my next thing to make sure that I do have.
Surely there's a DC crew. I'm sure that I've seen adverts for those.
There are, but they're like really low effort, right? So you know like this, like in a way, yeah. The way that this is printed is like, it's not like a square. Right, they've actually printed it properly, right? In the DC ones, it's like they'll have like, it'll just be like a rectangle print, and it'll have the bit in the middle, right? Now I can do that at home, you know what I mean? I'm just like, so it's like super low effort. I'm not going to bother with something like that, you know what I mean? So and half the reason why you wear these t-shirts is to, you know, embarrass the kids and stuff like that when you're around wearing it, you know. So that is the thing. So, dude, what you've been up to in the world of DC, Marvel, comic books?
Anything? Not a whole lot, but randomly, like yesterday, for some reason, I stumbled across a playlist of the old Batman 66, and I just started watching a bunch of them. I don't know why.
Okay.
I'm just mesmerized because I used to watch them as a little kid when there was nothing else to watch. It was just one of those shows. But watching it through fresh eyes as an adult, it is surreal. Like, I'm just laughing because It's terrible. It's terrible. Costumes are terrible. Acting is terrible. I can't stop watching it though. There's something about it that's just so. I don't know if it's the colors. I don't know if it's the Dutch angle of the cameras, but just over the topness of it. But I was just mesmerized. And I was loving it. I gotta admit, I was loving it.
If you want to see kind of like, okay, if you had somebody who'd been living, I don't know, living in a cave for the last 50 years or whatever, right? And they're like, oh, what happened? You know, what's happened for the last time, you know, for the last 50 years? You can show them Batman and say, this is the 60s, right? This basically is the 60s, right?
Literally, the first episode is when he gets drugged and he's dancing in the club to the old rock and roll music. And he...
It's like that is literally the 60s. Even like you can go to the you know the Tim Burton stuff and say, okay, this is the 90s, and then you know it will kind of like be, okay, this is the span of time that we've had in between those two bits. I remember that the only thing I remember about the 60s one is that it just used to come on like all the time. I remember it was just on. Because back in the day, like, I remember when people used to talk about cable TV, and like, you know, you always had a mate who went to the US or whatever, and they're like, oh yeah, you know, I've been to the US and they've got 200 channels over there. And we're like, what? We're like 4 channels here. And like, if you're lucky, you got 5, you know what I mean? Because, you know, we didn't even have 5 channels for ages, basically. So these were like shown like on the main, you know, like Channel 4, ITV or whatever, used to come on like all the time. It was kind of like there was like that, and like Mr. Bean was like the main shit that used to come like all the freaking time, you know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know whether I'd want to watch it again though. That is
it's purely for the fact that it is a time capsule, but it is hilarious at the same time. Laugh out loud, unintentionally hilarious. Like seeing the Riddler's female sidekick dress up like Robin just from turning and just putting on a mask, and then suddenly it's the actor who plays Robin. Suddenly the body doesn't make sense because this woman has curves, but all of a sudden it's just Robin's body.
Oh my!
It's hilarious. But I was watching that, and then I stumbled across the documentary. Again, DC stuff. It's just everywhere. I think Marvel's just taking a break. They're being sensible. They're protecting their actors and the workers. That's how I'm justifying this. And they just shut down until it's all gone and it's all good. But yeah, the documentary about the animated Batman series from the 90s. The legendary show. And I didn't realize that not only because I knew about, you know, they created Harley, but I didn't realize that they were the ones that gave Dr. Freeze his motive. The iconic motive of trying to save his love.
His wife, because
until that point, he was just a generic bad guy that just wanted to freeze everything and rob banks. And they were the one that came. That's show.
Wow, I didn't know that either. I've learned something myself today, basically.
So that impressed me. Yeah, good little documentary. It's on YouTube, so check it out.
I will check that out. Actually, I will actually. One confession, like even though the fact that I was like, you know, I'm a huge DC fan there or whatever. The problem was at that time when the Batman stuff was out, it was competing with Spider-Man and X-Men. And it never ever caught my eye to watch the Batman animated series.
Wow. Even as the Marvel guy, even I have to say that even back then, that Batman show was just next level, and I just couldn't wait every week because it was just on a different level. For some reason, I never liked the Spider-Man show. Everyone seems to have this high praise for it. I did like X-Men, but Spider-Man, I just didn't click with the show for some reason.
Spider-Man was like my favorite. It was like literally like my favorite show. And I watched all of them like multiple times. I used to absolutely. That's where my love for Morbius came from. Like basically like from that show basically. But
have you ever gone through all the Batmans then? The animated Batmans?
I don't think I've gone through all of them. No, I've probably watched on and off kind of, you know, kind of going through them and stuff like that. But by the time I was actually starting to get into that, I was getting a bit older. And then it's like you get older and you start to get into more. I was getting more into sci-fi and stuff like that. Like Outer Limits was out by then. I was, more into like, watching stuff like that. And then yeah, I never really hugely got into it. I've always been into the comic books and the graphic novels and all that kind of stuff. But the animated series I never really got into because it was more about,
Really?
Spidey and X-Men. That was the thing.
Yeah.
And we used to, when we were kids, we used to like, spend ages like writing out like, storylines for like Apocalypse and the Four Horsemen and stuff like that, and say like, yeah, this would happen, and then this would happen, and, casting like different actors to do different bits, but we never used to do that with the animated series. It was like,
Yeah, I used to do that, but not just writing it out. I used to actually draw my own comic books.
Oh wow!
Because I wanted to be a comic book artist when I was a kid. That was always my big dream.
There's that thing from Netflix now. You can go and pitch your thing, can't you? So, you got there's an opportunity there to pitch something. So, yeah. So, in terms of me doing stuff DC and Marvel, I've got to say the only thing really that I've been doing is I've been starting to like I basically, because I've been off and I kind of knew that this is the last week that I'm kind of going to be off until starting to work there again, is that I started playing some Arkham stuff on on the PS3. Just kind of like doing those things there again, just doing the because the thing is that they're so old that like you don't have to worry about, okay, I haven't got this DLC, I haven't got this DLC. If you just got the Platinum Edition, it has every single thing on it. You know what I mean? So I've been playing all those little things, been playing as Tim Drake, as this, as blah, blah, and it's just, just going through those. It's like, just getting back into it. I haven't completed it again because it's just like, a few hours have gone and then that's it. But those kind of things there, once you play them, then you just kind of think to yourself, man, whoever they've got writing these things up, they need to have on the main movies.
Literally, coincidentally that you were talking about that, I was actually watching someone who'd edited, I haven't finished it, but they edited the main story beats of all of the Arkham games into one massive, I think it's like 19 hours or something.
Yeah, it must be. It must
into that in and out through the week. Just watching these with the cutscenes and the essential sort of story beats of the actual game. It's fun. I love it.
I think it's because I'm waiting for somebody to play the whole of The Last of Us and then edit it into like the game movie kind of thing. Because I ain't got I haven't got a PS4, so I can't like go and play like 19 hours of of PS4 or whatever. But if somebody edits it down into like a 3-hour, 4-hour kind of movie kind of thing, I would definitely go and watch that. So I'm waiting for that, even though it's got nothing to do with DC or Marvel, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's just and then obviously when all the Miles Morales and all that kind of stuff comes out, then I'll definitely check those things there out as well.
When that got announced, dude, whoo!
How awesome does that stuff look, man?
Those character models look insane. Like I was skeptical about how that next generation was going to look. I kept thinking, dude, I was literally just watching the new God of War. Like, how do you get better than that? Like, do you even need to be better than that? But then watching that little clip, and people will say, "Oh, but it was a cutscene." But those are the character models that they actually have in the game. So, dude, wow, next level.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You always have to have that title that like grabs. You know what I mean? And once you got that title that grabs you, then that means that that console is gonna sell like absolutely crazy. I
want to get on board with the Avengers game. But I just can't get used to these random like models that they've got. Like, why couldn't they just shelled out a little extra? Maybe, I don't know, it probably will cost like another 5 million or something, but just to get the rights for those actors' faces, at least you can just get sound alikes for the voices. I want to see Scarlett Johansson. I want to see Downey. Would it have been that hard? Really?
And it wouldn't have been because, you know, and also you could have rendered them for the cutscenes and stuff like that. It just would have been, you know, it would have been so much better way of doing it. Waiting for some gameplay of that there as well.
Somehow, man. And it looks good. It looks very good, but just the fact, as soon as you see them turn and start talking, it's like, who the fuck are you?
It's a completely different person. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of news of like computer game stuff coming at the moment, and you know, we had some news there, potential kind of news of stuff being announced, websites being registered by Warner Brothers Games and stuff like that, and the two ones that have been registered are Suicide Squad, the game, and a game called Gotham Knights. Now, Gotham Knights was the one that there's been loads of speculation that there was going to be a Batman Court of the Owls game, right? And basically, like, you know, it was all going to be based on that. The storyline was going to be based on that. Now, obviously, they've created, potentially there's one called Gotham Knights. And I would assume, I mean, that can still lend into that because, you know, you got Azrael, you know, Talon, kind of leads into that there anyway.
And could just be a words, you know, Gotham Knights, not with the K, but, you know, the Knights, you know, you don't know what they're insinuating with the title, so.
Yeah, I'm glad that they didn't go for like a Damian Wayne game, which is, you know, what we kind of thought that they were going to go for, because that would have been absolutely horrendous. But the Suicide Squad game is the one that I'm most kind of interested in.
That could be fun.
Yeah, and it's interesting because a few years ago I used to work in a place in London, in a practice in London, and I used to have a patient there, right? And this patient, her name, should I say her name? Okay.
First name, surname.
Hardly anyway. Okay, she's quite a famous writer. Her name's Rihanna, basically her first name. If you Google her, Rihanna Pratchett is her name. So basically, she was saying to me because I was like, we were just talking, and I was like, oh yeah, I've read about you, and because we used to have quite a few kind of like not really famous, but kind of semi-famous. Like EastEnders people and randomers used to like come in and stuff like that to the practice, and I was talking to her, and she's like, yeah, she wrote the Tomb Raider game, right? Ooh. And she goes, I'm writing a game for Warner Brothers, right? And she goes, I can't tell you what it is. And I'm like, okay. She goes, but watch this space. There's a new game that's coming out. And I was like, is it a Batman game? So I was getting excited, right? Is it She goes, it's not a Batman game, right? So I was like, okay, fine. So then I saw her for a review like 6 months later or whatever, and she goes to me, yeah, the game that she goes, I'll tell you about that game now because it's not going to come out, right? And I was like, why? She goes, oh, it's basically because Suicide Squad the film didn't do so well, they decided to shelve the game.
Oh damn!
So she goes, yeah.
Is this her script?
So that's the thing. So I'm wondering, is this her script? Because if I need to just check up on it, and I need to see if this being made by the same people who are making the Tomb Raider stuff. Because she obviously wrote that Tomb Raider game. Yeah. She's written some other stuff there as well. And I was just wondering, it's a bit weird if like your surgeon just randomly emails you like like 3 years later and says, by the way,
you disguise it as a checkup. I'm just here about my patients. I just want to know, and then by the way, while I'm here.
Yeah. So I'm yet to see, but if it's interesting because if we see her name attached to that, then I'll be like, okay, well, this has been 3 years in the making. That they've been writing that. So yeah, it was.
Be so cool.
She was telling me it's kind of like it's kind of in the same vein as the Batman stuff, that you're basically going on missions, covert missions, etc. And I think the one good thing about the Suicide Squad stuff, And the good thing is that it's Rocksteady, the Suicide Squad stuff. It's not EA or whatever, because think about the online co-op stuff that you could do, man. If you could say you could be Killer Croc or something, or King Shark or something like that, and then you join up with somebody else's Harley Quinn, somebody else's Bronze Tiger, or whatever, and you all go on missions together. If that comes out, all of us, right? Me, you, Salim, whatever, we have to go and do that mission, man.
So they could have this ton of the villains, and you could just rotate different teams and just have them versus a whole next team of guys. That could be see, that's what awesome, I like about the DC when the DC games get made. Warner Brothers, I guess this is a double-edged sword. You could either argue that either they're willing to have more fun with the properties, or you can argue that Warner Brothers does not really care enough to put any real restrictions. But you get a feeling that they're willing to just have more fun. So you got the whole Injustice games and the Mortal Kombat versus DC stuff which Marvel would never willingly do because they're so precious with they don't want to be betrayed in any violent sense or, show bloodshed. So I enjoy the fact that DC willing to have more fun like that.
Yeah. So the next bit of news that is associated with that is probably going to disappoint you now. Because there's rumors that AT&T want to sell the gaming division of Warner Brothers, right? Okay. So apparently there's been bids for it. EA want it, Bethesda want it, etc. Now, if they sell the Warner Brothers game division to EA, you might as well just say, okay, I've killed it off there and then, because EA are going to be like microtransactions all over the place. You want this, you got to download it. You want this costume, you got to download it. You want to play for longer, you got to download it. It will cost you thousands to do. I know like people like play a lot of games nowadays, and it's like, with me, back in the day, just you get a disc, you put it in the game's console, you play it, right? I'm not into this thing like, oh yeah, new costumes come out, let me shove down another 10-15 quid to go and get the latest update for this game that is 5 years old or whatever. It's like, bring me a new game, you know what I mean?
That's one good thing about the Marvel game coming up. All the updates, all the DLC, free. The only thing that is gonna cost you money is if you want to buy new costumes, which aren't a necessity. But the actual game story and all the DLC for that story, free.
Yeah, I think they need to. That's pretty awesome, man. Considering the way that stuff is going there now, and the fact that I think there is this space for like big story-driven games, because it seems to have gone away for a while, and it's all about online or whatever. But they need to have this kind of thing, like. I remember, like, when you're playing Resident Evil or whatever, sometimes it would take you 15 hours to complete the game, or like 20 hours to complete it, and there's an intricate storyline and all this kind of stuff. That's my kind of entertainment. Might be if they have something
Resident
like that,
Evil 3 remake and 4 remake, those are out and they're amazing.
Remake on what? On PS4?
They're on PS4.
PS4.
You got one, have you? Damn it.
I haven't got PS4, no, but I guess it must be somebody playing it on YouTube. I can watch or whatever, you know what I mean? So people probably thinking, you know what, these guys have been chatting about all these other things and they haven't talked about like the biggest news that absolutely every single bloody thing is talking about.
We don't want false hope, because
exactly.
If this comes to pass, in the Lord of the Rings terms, this could be so much fun. This could be amazing if they actually get it right and don't screw it up.
Yeah. So that's the reason why we got to put this caveat in place. This is a rumor at the moment, right? And obviously it's a big rumor because it's originated from Variety rather than we got this covered or some other crappy news site. But there are rumors that Michael Keaton is having talks with Warner Brothers to appear in their universe, and there's multiple different ways that people are talking about it. That he's going to be appearing in the Flash. He's going to be He's going to be kind of like a Nick Fury kind of character. Also that he's going to be appearing in the Flash, and then it's going to propel him to being like a Batman Beyond kind of character there in the future. These are all the kind of rumors that I've heard that have been like kind of like pinging around and stuff like that.
How disappointed would it be if he does want to sign him, but he's just some generic businessman villain or some crap, or a new version of Lex or something? Like, how disappointed would that be? That you've got the dude, the original Batman, the guy that started the darker take on, live action Batman, and then he's just some random other character, some mob boss or something.
I don't think they'd do that. I think they'd be completely dumb if they did something like that. And I wouldn't put it past Warner Brothers, because they are pretty dumb, but they would have to be super, super dumb to be doing something like that. And the thing is like, sometimes you kind of think, okay, they put stuff out there so that they gauge the reaction of the public, and once they gauge the reaction of the public, then they decide, yes, let's do this or do that or whatever, right? So in some ways this kind of this makes me excited, and in other ways I kind of think this could go in a really horribly wrong way, right? But what I mean by that is we always go back to our old friends, the CW, right? Because the CW has got this thing where basically, and how we say it, CW's got huge fans, right? And these fans are extremely vocal, and for some reason, WB seems to have this thing that like the CW fans' voices should be louder and listened to more than any other fans, right? So when you watch their crossovers, right, and all their crossovers are a lot of the time is cameo here, cameo there. Oh, look, this person's turned up. Oh, look, have you seen this? I mean, like, when I watched the last crossover for CW, I don't watch any of the CW stuff, but I watched the crossover just for the sake of watching it. And, basically all it was is just like, okay, a little bit of story, and then, oh, look, there's Burt Ward. Oh, look, there's there's
Birds
the
of
guy
Prey.
from Smallville.
Back
Oh,
in-
look, there's old school Birds of Prey. Oh, look, there's whatever. And it's like, after a while, it gets cringe, right? It actually gets cringe, because it's kind
I
of
did
like
Lucifer though. I did like seeing Lucifer though. That did make me.
none of the Lucifer one was good, because he had a funny interaction with Constantine, but after a while it gets a bit cringeworthy, right? Because it's kind of like, oh my god, you're bringing in another person, and that is my concern for this. That what they're doing is that they're like, okay, we've got this cameo of Michael Keaton coming in, and it's like, okay, if they're going to use him as just a cameo kind of thing, right, then it would have been, it's then okay, are they going to go anywhere with this character, right? Also, kind of, is, for me, my absolute ideal of ideals, because they are doing Flashpoint and they're confirmed they're doing Flashpoint, right, would be that whole Flashpoint film goes all the way, continues, like, we get it whatever way they're not going to make it like, proper Flashpoint. We're not going to get Aquaman and Wonder Woman and all this kind of stuff, but they make it however way they make it. We get Thomas Wayne, or we get the Jeffrey Dean Morgan Thomas Wayne, right, like that. And then Flash goes back in time. At the end of Flashpoint, he basically gives a letter from Thomas Wayne to Bruce, right? And it's basically like, I love you, son, blah, blah. And it's the first time you see a bit of kind of emotion coming out of Batman. He's like crying, basically, right? Now, can you imagine? Yeah. Now, can you imagine you didn't know this was happening? You watched the whole film. He gives it, and Michael Keaton turns around and it's Batman. The crowd would go crazy. So can you imagine? The crowd would go insane. People would just be,
anyone over 30, anyone under 30, who's that guy? Is that the guy from Spider-Man? Oh,
I think people still know who that guy is, man. People still know who it is, man. But I'm just worried now that they're going to say, oh, Christian Bale's coming back as well, because he's going to and we're going to get this guy and blah. it's okay. I mean, I see the kind of routes that they're going down, but then, you know, we had this other rumor announcement of the fact that, you know, they're courting Ryan Reynolds for a cameo in Zack Snyder's Justice League, right? And
Nothing wrong with that. Before people start screaming, Ryan Reynolds was not what was wrong with that movie. He tried his best.
the cloud parallax.
The suit, the script.
You know, as a DC fan, when I watched that, right, and and it's like, obviously, you know what Parallax looks like, right, from the comic books, and then it's like Parallax, and I'm like,
the hell?
It's a cloud. Like, what the hell is that? It was like literally like, you imagine him looking like a Guardian, but like a more screwed up, and then it's like, it's a cloud. Turn into a cloud. Now, the thing that makes you more excited about the fact that you've got Ryan Reynolds as a cameo is the fact that we could see Mark Strong coming back as Sinestro. Because I thought Mark Strong was I thought he was a really good Sinestro. Unfortunately, he's in the Shazam film still as
maybe you could get away with it. I don't know.
No. With the prosthetics and stuff. So yeah, I kind of I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things because, you know, obviously I'm a member of loads of forums of the fact that, you know, we're trying to put this stuff out there and things like that. And in some of the forums, I'm seeing like, oh, you know, and in fact, some of the stuff that I sent you that is on our own page, people are like, oh no, yeah, he's signed up for Deadpool and blah blah. And it's like, well, is he really? Because everything that I'm hearing coming out about Deadpool is that there ain't no sign of Deadpool coming out anytime soon. So, you know, it's like most people are not like Samuel Jackson, you know, and Samuel Jackson will basically go and do anything and he'll still be cool in absolutely everything that he does, right? And you don't have a lot of people like Joaquin Phoenix who are just like, I like this one script every 5 years and I'm going to take it. You have to kind of look at it. And if Warner Brothers come and say, do you know what? Do you want to do a 5-minute cameo in Justice League and we'll pay you 200 grand or 500 grand or, you know, $1 million even? You can be like, yeah, safe.
Some people might feel like, but he was burned with Green Lantern. He won't want to come back. But maybe he want to right the wrongs of that movie, not just the money. Maybe he'll just want to right the wrongs of that movie and feel like he can, to prove to himself and the fans that he can do Green Lantern justice. He may want to just one more time give it a go.
Yeah. So the rumor is that he's there as a cameo to make sure that Jon Stewart comes in, because we've got basically whenever you think about this stuff, right, you're thinking about people like me and Eds who, and a lot of people like us who love comic books and love comic book shows and movies and stuff like that and know the ins and outs every single thing. And then you've got the general public, right? And the general public, if you say Green Lantern, most people are going to be like, oh, Ryan Reynolds, right?
Yeah.
So when a Green Lantern show comes on TV and it's got no Hal Jordan and it's got bloody Jon Stewart and, you know, Jessica Cruz and stuff like that, people are going to, if you have got Ryan Reynolds as Green Lantern and he hands over a torch in a film that, I'm going to say this now, is going to be the biggest film of 2021 because everybody's going to watch it, whether it's good or bad. Everybody's going to be watching it, right? They're going to do a handover. That's what I reckon. I reckon it's going to be a Jon Stewart handover, and then that's then cements Jon Stewart for the Green Lantern show going forwards, basically, right?
Good question. Actually, I'm going to quickly go back quickly to the Flashpoint news with the Keaton. Are you worried or bothered that Warner Brothers have made no effort they've made no statement, not come out and said anything? They just seem to be quiet, hoping that people just forget that it looks like Ezra Miller is staying as the Flash. Are you happy about that or unhappy?
with any of these things, I'm kind of like, it's the same thing. The same way that I think about Ezra Miller as the Flash is the same way that I think of Jared Leto as the Joker, right? And it's like, okay, I've seen them on the screen and I absolutely hate what I've seen, right? I hate what I've seen as Ezra Miller's The Flash. I hate his running style. I hate the personality. It's absolutely nothing like, nothing like Barry Allen. It's just, I just hate everything about it, right? Same thing with Jared Leto's Joker. I hate everything about that Joker. Then I kind of see and I say, actually, this is not the way that it was meant to be portrayed. The Joker was meant to be portrayed in a different way. Barry Allen's Flash was meant to be portrayed in a very different manner, in Zack Snyder's original cut. So then I kind of think, okay, let me see that character. Let me see the way that character is portrayed. Because in the Suicide Squad, when I saw Flash, and he turns up and he's there, and I think he arrests Captain Boomerang from what I can remember.
He was in that, yeah, you're right.
I thought that was cool, man. I was like, this is gonna be a cool character. And then obviously, then later on, you're like, what the hell happened to him?
I was mainly pointing out the fact of Ezra Miller, what he got in trouble for a couple of months back seems to have just been, as far as Warner Brothers is concerned, just la 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 la. They'll forget about it. La la la. Let's keep quiet. And it looks like that's happening. So. You okay with that?
I don't know. I mean, basically, what the thing is, obviously, he was, I don't know, God knows what his thought process was. But then has the victim come out and said, like, I want to sue him, or I want to do whatever. Usually when you have these kind of things, when you see like, police brutality, or you see something else going on, the victim comes out and is like,
happened in Europe, though.
Makes a statement.
Happened in Europe, though. We don't sue as much as everyone.
Yeah, we don't sue as much, but still, everybody wants their viral opportunity nowadays. You know what I mean? So I don't know. To me, it kind of seems like, okay, if the victim's bothered about it, then I should also be bothered about it.
And if they're not,
if they're not, I don't know. I mean, do they even see themselves as a victim? I don't know enough about it to kind of do it. So I'm not, I'm not kind of bothered. On the other hand, Amber Heard, I've got a completely different.
I was about to say that.
Because she lied and destroyed this guy's career, right? Like destroyed it, and basically just like used this whole movement and everything to kind of go propel herself much. She was a jobbing actress who was in next to nothing. I mean, the only thing I can remember in before this was a film called Never Back Down, which is like a really crappy
fighting film with Nicolas Cage as well.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yep.
That's the only thing. And then obviously then she's in this, but she wouldn't have got propelled to that level if she hadn't been a big face of this Me Too movement. So because of the fact that she's done that and she's ruined a man's career and all this kind of stuff, that I'm a lot more kind of like, oh, yeah, she shouldn't really be rewarded for this behavior. You know what I mean? Yeah. Ezra Miller's a bit different because I kind of just see, okay, I don't know. If the victim comes out tomorrow and says, you know what, this is disgusting, I can't believe he did this, we were just teasing him and he just went off on one, then I'd be like, okay, fine, you know what, they don't like it and he's gone off on one and really he needs kind of pay. But do you think that Warner Brothers are going to do anything when they're making zero movement on Amber Heard? What the hell are they going to do to Ezra Miller? Because he's like on such a lower level in comparison to what's been going on with that, man. So yeah, I'm just looking at the topic list. So that's the thing with the podcast. You can kind of do that, and nobody will see what you're doing, basically. But now we're on video, and you're always going to see that I'm checking the thing. So it seems like a lot of people are doing exclusive deals with Spotify now, right? And we had, I think, Joe Rogan did his own kind of like. And just making some change on Spotify, basically. And now, from our point of view, have you heard the Wolverine podcast?
You know, I keep meaning to check it out, but I haven't gotten around to it. Like, I do like the audiobook superhero ones. Like, I like the graphic audio. That's the company that do them. And they do it wicked. They have the sound effects, background music, multiple voices. They do both Marvel, or they did both Marvel and DC ones. So check them out, guys, if you never heard them. So yeah, I've always wanted to check out the Wolverine one, but I ain't got around to it yet.
The Wolverine one's pretty good. It's pretty good. And it's like it's got kind of like the backing of Marvel, so it's actually got like production value and all this kind of stuff there as well. So I guess DC has kind of seen this and been like, you know what, we got to get on our own kind of thing. And they've signed an exclusive deal with Spotify to create multiple audiobook podcasts. So they're going to have multiple properties that are coming exclusively only on Spotify, and you're going to have character audiobooks there with the backing.
So it's basically what graphic audio did. So why didn't they just buy graphic audio and just get them to do it? Like, those guys were perfect at it. So
I don't know. It's always like with any of these things, it's always like a boys' club, right? So it's kind of like we want our own little people who we like in these roles or whatever, and that's basically what they're going to do. I'm going to have to check out the graphic audio because I haven't really checked those out. I'm in the audiobook kind of sphere. I've been more into the Star Wars stuff, because I just like the fact that in the Star Wars ones they've got like the proper Star Wars music, and the voices are amazing. Sometimes they have multiple people. The one that is on the highest level for me is the alien stuff, because the alien stuff there is amazing. They keep releasing these. Yeah, they keep releasing these ones frequently. So you had they have multiple actors. So most of these ones, like the Star Wars ones and stuff, they'll have one voice actor and he'll do multiple voices. But in these ones, they have multiple different actors doing the things there. They have the proper sounds of the alien. The stories there, they're like atmospheric. They're like, it's amazing. They've made so many of those there now. So there was like an Alien Covenant prequel. There was a one where the colonial marines had gone on this planet. There was 2 or 3 ones with Ripley in it, another one with Ripley's daughter in it. They are on another level. So if they get to that kind of level,
get them out. Let me give you a little thing of the graphic audio one.
I clambered back down the ladder to his hidey hole. Multitude of rodent retainers.
You know what I'm saying? Where you just got the true atmosphere of it. They're cool.
That's good. You know, when you get a proper voice actor who can kind of portray that, because they don't have the visual stuff to kind of show it, so they have to really, really sell it in the voice. That's pretty amazing. So I'll definitely check those.
Craven's Last Hunt, an iconic story. So all of the main stories they do. Cool.
So I'm going to end up downloading God knows how many of those now, listening to those on every commute, man. So yeah, there's gonna be loads of those DC ones that are coming out there soon, man. It's gonna be kind of crazy. And I guess obviously Marvel's been very successful with the Wolverine, but they would be dumb not to, with all the infrastructure they've got, just to kind of release more and more. You don't even have to worry about the MCU then. You kind of just like, okay, well, we'll just do one about about the X-Men, or about or part of the Spider-Man universe or whatever, and and then kind of do that. Or they could even expand and say this is an MCU story or whatever, and then have side stories as part of the main.
Get a sound-alike actor, if you can't get the real dude. Yeah. But I bet you a bunch of the real actors would be willing to do it. Like, I could imagine Tom Holland being like, yeah, sure, I'll narrate a story or something. Like, it seems like that's all that.
Yeah. I think they'd be more than happy to do that, considering the fact that obviously they're not doing anything there at the moment. And it's kind of like...
They missed it. They had their stuff together the last 3-4 months. They could have just killed it.
Exactly. They should just done that. You know what I mean? And these actors are hungry to like do something, because they're trying to do everything to like gain attention nowadays, which is quite funny. So that is the thing. So let's depart away a bit from Marvel and DC, and we've got Why the Last Man. Is apparently coming on FX. So FX is that owned by Disney now?
Yeah.
Is that owned by Disney?
Yeah.
That's owned by Disney
Yeah.
now, right? So so in effect, this is a Disney. I don't know. They've obviously bought the rights to
how this works. Maybe it will end up being like a Hulu thing or something down the road. But yeah, they've been saying they've been going to make this for so long. Like, I believe it when I see it now. It's got to that point where they just keep saying it's going to get done, but
yeah, well, now they're saying that it's been approved by FX, so you know it's one of those things. It's one of those comic books that, you know, I guess with any of these things, you know, they've got like Jupiter Rising and stuff like that. Ever since the success of The Boys, these companies are going out and they're like, give me a graphic novel. There was one that came on Netflix called something about American crime or something like that. And
yeah. I heard it was terrible though. I didn't bother.
Yeah, it basically bombed, like review bomb, like, because it was just the most horrendous. And apparently it's not even a great graphic novel, but it just shows that what's happening is that they're looking for these obscure titles.
Well, Netflix are doing it again. Warrior Nun. That's another one. That's old comic book that they've turned. It looks nothing like the comic book. So it's like,
okay,
what's the point if you're not gonna stay true to source material? Because possibly you're doing it because of the built-in fan base. But if you're not, then it's just...
I sometimes think with some of these things, what happens is that they have a story, right? Kind of like with Joker, okay? So they have a story and they've got a director who wants to do it, and it's like, I've got this story, I want to do it this way, blah, blah, blah. And these guys, and they go and pitch it to Netflix or Warner Brothers or whatever. And then the higher ups are like, I like your story, but it ain't going to do well because you haven't got a hook.
See, the
right?
thing is, though, it's got to be the production company, because Netflix themselves, they also do Umbrella Academy. And Umbrella Academy is pretty much almost spot on to what the comic book is. Like, they barely change anything. So it's got to be the production company themselves that took this property and adapted it or something, that they just decided, nah, we have to change it. It's not going to be, they can't have this chick running around in the nun costume with a metal on that. They won't get into that.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. They're kind of like, I think they kind of just like, they pitch it and then they're like, actually, but if you named it this, we've already got rights to this one property, and then we can sell it to the public, right? And then obviously then the public goes and watches it because it's kind of like that. I think with Warrior Nun, like, because I have seen some photos of the graphic novel and stuff, you've always got this kind of thing there now, and this is a massive thing in this day and age, that somebody is going to get offended, right, by this kind of stuff. So, you know, if you've got somebody who is running around in a nun's habit, like, you know, killing demons and stuff like that, somebody's going to be like, I don't like this.
Can't live that way, because everybody gets offended by everything. So you've just got to get to a point where you're like, screw it, we're just doing it. They're going to hate us anyway.
It's like anything. If you don't want to see it, then don't see it. You know what I mean? Like, don't. You know, you're not forced to go and watch every single thing. You don't have to. Not every single thing has to be targeted towards everybody. Obviously, that is a way to make money, but at the same time, like, you know, that will stop a lot of things. So yeah, I mean, Why the Last Man is one of these ones which is like an obscure graphic novel, but also one of these things that kind of like fits the narrative of the, you know, of what we've got going on there at the moment, in that they're looking for films and series where women run the world, right, kind of thing. This
is what I was actually going to get into, because the basic plot is, it's a guy, basically the Y chromosome, everybody with a Y chromosome is dead. Men, male animals, and it's just this one guy and his monkey. Everybody else that survived is female. It's women. Now, I haven't read Why the Last Man, so I can't really go into how the story's told or anything, but I'm imagining that with this Me Too movement and the more female-driven Hollywood focus that we've got, it could change the way that the story of this show, this adaptation, is done to be. You get where I'm going with this, where these female characters can be. I'm trying to be political without pissing a lot of you people off, man. But
yeah, I mean, this is the thing. Obviously, if you think about this kind of thing realistically, and I'm going to say this without actually having read the graphic novel. So, if I'm wrong on this, you can correct me in the comments or put a message on the Facebook page there or whatever. But if you've got a situation like that, okay, then, and you're going to have, say, for example, one group of people gets killed or whatever, okay, or is from a plague disappears, you're going to get a children of men situation, right? So in Children of Men, you've got these kind of, some people are good, some people are very, very horrible, right? Now, you inevitably, because you get that survival kind of instinct thing that is going on, you actually get more and more people who are horrible rather than people that are good. Now, if you've got almost every single character about this in this, apart from a dude and his monkey, right, is female, and a large majority of them are going to be nasty people, right, then they're not going to want to show that. They're going to want to show that actually, if the world was run in this way, it would be a much more utopian society.
Yes, he suddenly sees that they've sorted out their problems. They've built a beautiful city that's just perfect. No one argues. And what's the desire going to be like for him? Like, I'm imagining in the comic books, there had to have been storylines where women were after him because he's the last man alive. There's got to be some which were like, holy dude, there's a man. And if there is that, are they going to get rid of that? They're not going to want to show women being that thirsty or turning on each other if it causes internal strife. They're not going to want to portray that to be like, no, we can't show women turning on each other because of a man. We have to show girl power altogether. Like,
it's funny
because
that
going to be an intriguing story if they try to get rid of that stuff. I don't know.
It's funny because there's this film that has just come out on Netflix, which basically is the most watched Netflix film at the moment, right? And I haven't seen it because I don't have Netflix anymore, but basically it's like a really controversial film, right? It's a really controversial film because it's kind of like that 50 Shades of Grey kind of style, but it's like that on acid, right?
365 or something like that.
Yeah. So basically, this dude, he kidnaps this woman and then he keeps her in his castle or something. Yeah. And he's like, you're gonna stay here until you love me or whatever, right? And the thing is, okay, this guy basically is a kidnapper and a rapist, basically. Mm-hmm. Let's not sugarcoat it. Yeah. This guy is a kidnapper and a rapist, right? However, apparently in this film, it's portrayed in a way that she eventually falls in love with this dude, right? And it's kind of like he's like that 50 Shades of Grey dude on acid, right? Now, at the same time, when you've got all this Me Too thing coming on, blah, blah, the rules do not, for some reason, seem to apply if you've got a dude who's rich and looks a certain way, right?
And it also should be pointed out that it's either like, I think, Italian or Spanish or something, which also helps. Which also helps.
Yeah. And it's written by it's apparently it's set in like Spain or something, in Italy, but it's written by a Polish female author, and she's apparently written a trilogy or whatever. Yeah. And the reviews and stuff are like, this is the worst film ever. But there are people like saying like, oh, she's written a trilogy, when's the rest of her films coming out, blah blah blah. So even though like on one side of the world you got all this Me Too stuff going on, and in other parts of the world you got this thing where some people have this weird kind of fancy that it's like, I want to get abducted by this prince, like Beauty and the Beast style.
It shouldn't be ashamed. Like, you shouldn't be ashamed if you do want to be independent and strong. That's fine. And if you want to be submissive and be a powerful man, that shouldn't be something you should be ashamed of either. It's like all kinds of people in the world, and you can be wherever you want to be.
Yes, yeah, but it doesn't fit that American
the
narrative
modern
at the moment. So that's, I suspect, like you're saying with the FX stuff, they're going to go more into that
politically
other kind of
correct,
thing.
Me Too influence stuff.
So which is which is interesting, because one of the reasons why The Boys was so successful is that they shunned all of that, right? They shunned all of that kind of like politically correct stuff, and it was just so crazy, and people hadn't seen that. It became super successful. So if they're deciding to go to these obscure graphic novels because they want to capitalize on the fact of that, The Boys situation, then they need to also learn the other lessons of why The Boys was so popular, not just because it's a graphic novel, you know what I mean? So sorry, we got some more DC news there as well, man. About DC fandom, right? So there was a few weeks back, there was this thing that like now they're going to stream all of San Diego Comic-Con, so you can watch all of the panels and all that kind of stuff there. And it was also announced by multiple people. There's an event that's coming in August called DC Fandom. So that is going to have the actors from Shazam, Black Adam, Zack Snyder's Justice League, Cyborg, Flash, Wonder Woman, all that kind of stuff. And it's basically going to be a massive kind of event for fans of DC films. Like there's going to be information about certain films, information about the route that the DCEU is going to go. And it's interesting, man, because obviously like a lot of these companies, they used to go and release all their stuff on San Diego Comic-Con, but because of that coronavirus outbreak and stuff, they're kind of like, oh, okay, well now we can put all of our stuff out on on this platform.
We've kind of seen this with after the cancellation of E3, basically all of these various companies, including PlayStation and various game developers, they just over the past month or two, they've just been releasing their own little presentations online. Some of them are sitting in their house just presenting and showing footage. Some of them are actually in the little studio. But yeah, so and it actually, you cut through the middle, man. You get straight to it. It's that way you don't have to all the pomp and circumstance, which, to be honest, ain't really important anyway, unless you're there to actually enjoy it, which most people aren't. So and
the thing is, in terms of something like your console or something that gets released at E3, right? It's like, does that really matter nowadays? You're better off just having a live event saying like, look, you just have the guy who runs PlayStation or whatever, coming out and doing a little presentation online. Like you get to more audience, you get more buzz, blah, blah. It's just like, I think a lot of this is going to change. A lot of this kind of stuff is going to change. Your boy, The Rock, came out and he's like, yeah, you know what? I will be showcasing what's going on in Black Adam and Prime Plus. So you got that to look forward to, man. But it's kind of like, I don't know what's going on at DC right now, but they're just like throwing up every idea out there. Like, okay, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. It's like, you ever seen that film Yes Man with what's his name, Jim Carrey? And it's like Jim Carrey, and he decides to say yes to everything, right? It's like, that's what I reckon. They're like, should we do this? Yeah, do it.
Yeah, they seem to be revitalized over there. Like, it's weird. There seems to be a new energy going on that they just seem to be throwing everything at the wall.
So I read on DC Forum that this is actually the effect of The Rock. that he's gone there and he's basically brought this kind of spirit to DC that is like, look, we can do this, guys. We can do.
Oh shit!
That it's like, yeah, we can do this. We can push, push forwards and stuff. But it's mad because obviously they're just like, okay, well, look, we've got this, we've got that, we can show it. And I think, from a business decision, I think this is the way that it's going to go. A lot of this kind of stuff like San Diego Comic-Con, in effect, what you're doing is that you are taking your brand and you're going and showcasing it at someone else's event. Yeah. So you're in it. Warner Brothers actually paying them right, to be at this event, right? Now they don't have to pay anyone. It just goes in their own pocket, right? They have their own people. They can do it at the Warner Brothers lot. They can say, look, here it is. Everybody's going to be watching it. There's going to be 1,000 videos coming out there analyzing every single thing that has been said later on there as well. And it's kind of like, I think this is the way that it is.
Yeah.
But
I think might be a little over optimistic to think all the actors are going to be there. I reckon a lot of them will just be in their living rooms, and this is going to be like a Zoom type thing for a lot of them. But still, as long as we get the information, that's all that matters. And we're most likely going to get more Justice League Snyder Cut footage, because he already put out that little teaser, 2 weeks ago now?
Yeah. So he put out the little teaser, which we've kind of seen bits off there anyway. But this is the thing, like a worried fan actually sent him a message today, and this somebody put this up on the forums, like, Zach, I'm really worried that basically all the good stuff in JL, you're like showing it all, right? And it's like, is there anything extra that we haven't seen that that hasn't been spoiled, right? And he wrote back and he said, yeah, this is like the tip of the iceberg, right, of stuff. So
are you worried that Darkseid is too skinny?
Darkseid is too skinny. That's Yuxas though, isn't it?
Oh, it's
That's
not actually
Darkseid
standing there.
So basically, when they have that original kind of battle, whatever, they have the new gods and the old gods fighting, and basically when they have that, that's Yuxas. So Yuxas is there, Steppenwolf is there. He sends all of those guys. They're fighting against Zeus and all these other type of people, Artemis and all these kind of people. So, and that's when you have the old Green Lanterns, ancient Green Lanterns and stuff like that. So he's not Darkseid at that point, but when he becomes Darkseid is in the timeline now. So now in the time, so when Wonder Woman goes and sees that, she's seeing Yuxas. So he was going to now be a fully developed beast.
So that's basically the teenage version of Darkseid, what we saw then, the skinny legs and all of that.
Basically, yeah. I mean, I'll tell you the one thing about Zack Snyder is he does not put skinny people in his film, right?
True.
Every single person is hench. Even the women are like hench. Like you see the Amazon stuff that he's placed in there. So he's not gonna have like some weak people in there, man. So the one thing that I'm concerned about is that what they might be doing is looking at, okay, this is the Snyder Cut, this is the plan that we had, this is what it is, but I would have liked to put XYZ in it. And now he's kind of thinking, okay, do you know what? I'm going to put that in it there now. I'm going to put this in it. And that is the thing that worries me a little bit, because sometimes with a lot of these things there, I'm not putting myself anywhere near, guys, before you start cussing me on this, at the same level as any of these guys kind of, writers or anything like that. But back when I was in uni, I wrote like a screenplay for a thing. It wasn't long, it was like 30 pages, but it's just basically like a treatment and screenplay for a particular thing. And one part, because one of my mates is really into movies there as well, I really go off on a tangent, and it's literally just like, I'm talking about these aliens coming down and this other kind of universe is blah blah, and he's like, mate, cut all that crap out, because that is just like, it's basically making the story way bigger than it needs to be and concentrate on this one bit. So I cut all that stuff out, and the story becomes a lot more lean or whatever. But I think Zack Snyder's the same kind of way. If you don't keep him on a leash, he's going to go off and be like, I want to add this, I want to add Darkseid's planet and blah. It's like, don't put Darkseid's planet and Granny Goodness and flipping Big Barda and Mr. Miracle and all these people in it, Calabac and Darkseid's son Calabac, is it? No, just leave it alone. Just basically make it the way that you were doing it. And then that's it. Don't try and add all that other extra stuff on it, because I might see say for example Grail and Calibac, and I'm be like, oh my god, Grail and Calibac on here. The average person's gonna be like, who the hell is this now? Because there's gonna be no backstory. Then he's not gonna put a backstory for these people.
Because he said that he's gonna try that. Is he talking about putting those people in?
No, but that's the thing. It's like, okay, so there was rumors that, you know, the Colonel Swanwick, or was it General Swanwick, I think, was Martian Manhunter.
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, he's confirmed to be Martian Manhunter, and he's putting some backstory about it. That wasn't in his original thing.
Yeah.
But because people been asking him again and again, he's like, I'm going to add a little bit more about the Martian Manhunter thing. Now, if you know, every single time people ask him, he's like, yeah, there's more about this, there's more about this. And kind of, okay, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that every single thing that Zach has said is truthful. But when I also kind of look at it, I kind of think maybe he's sometimes saying certain things to make the fans happy, right? Or say like, yeah, I am putting this in it, I am putting this in it. And the problem is that if you add too much stuff to make the fans happy, you're going to end up with a mess of a film, right?
And also, he's probably writing that stuff himself, because he thinks of himself as a scriptwriter, like as we saw with Sucker Punch, where he thought he could do it himself and it was garbage.
Yeah.
So that's also worrying that he hasn't got someone else, a conduit, who can actually execute these ideas decently. Like it's just him doing it. So God knows what this dialogue's going to be like. I'm starting to get worried now. I was actually feeling good about this. Now you've got me worried. Thank you.
Well, he just needs to, you know, the dialogue and stuff. He's got a real kind of thing that he likes to put stuff in, like you know, like it reads out of, you know, the Iliad, like some ancient Greek text, or it reads like a part of the Old Testament or whatever, which is fine because he thinks it's like Shakespearean, putting that kind of stuff in. But the average, the average person just kind of is like, it's like the speech that Bruce Wayne makes at the start of Batman v Superman, right? I could tell that a lot of people who would have been watching that, you know, when he talks about, oh, there were diamond absolutes, you know, there, you know, this is a beautiful lie, blah blah. It's like he's talking in riddles, right? Because it doesn't seem like the way that a normal human would speak. And I can tell that a lot of people, you think about the average person who's going to things, would be like, what the hell is he talking about? And it would have lost people in that first sentence of the film, right? And you have to, however much you want to make a film there for your fans, right, which is what George Lucas does now. He's like, I make it specifically for my own family, so I kind of understand this one bit. You can do that, but it doesn't give you stuff mass appeal, and you have to make it more appealing towards the mass, which is you know, which is why, like, you do that stuff in something like 300, it works because it's an ancient Greek film. But then you can't also then translate that to Sucker Punch, or to or you know, or to BBS, or something like that. It needs to be separate. And I think kind of when he was working really closely with other screenwriters in like Man of Steel, it worked a lot better. But then he kind of decided to become more philosophical in BBS, which is where the issues kind of come in. So we got two more bits of news, but one of them I'm going to skip over because it's basically like the same old thing that we hear every single week. Henry Cavill has said, I want to play Superman for a long time. Okay, you can say that every single day until I see Man of Steel 2 coming out on this date. I'm going to ignore that news every single time it comes out because I'm not interested. I don't care how many times you want to play this role. Go walk. Do you know what they should do? He should go up to Warner Brothers, and say, look, guys, we're going to sit here all night, get some pizzas out, whatever, and we're going to negotiate all night until we get this sorted, right? And after this night, it's done, right? I don't want to hear like, oh, I'm renegotiating my contract for months and months and months and months. Okay, yeah, do that. By that time, dude, you're going to be old, right? You're going to be like, your hair's going to be more receding than mine. And you're going to be like, you know, it's just
getting there. It's getting there. It's got to make a decision. Like, I don't get it. Has he pissed someone off? Is somebody's like mad that their wife is in love with him or something, and they just want to, because they're doing all this other stuff at DC. So why can't they just get their stuff together with Superman?
I think. Do you know the thing is that his manager is a super tough negotiator, right? And has walked away twice. And you know who his manager is, right? The Rock's ex-wife, you know,
Jesus Christ,
who manages The Rock as well. She's got two clients, Henry Cavill and The Rock.
That's why you know that. She pretty much Rock does everything. It doesn't say no to nothing. So she's obviously only seems to give a crap about Cavill then.
Yeah, but the Rock's production company is named in every single one of these films that he's doing there at the moment, right? So he gets residuals from everything. Henry Cavill's just coming as an actor, right? So because he's just coming as an actor, it's like, well, okay, I need to negotiate a better thing, or blah blah whatever, or I want a 3-film arc expanding over this and getting this much money and all this kind of stuff. I'm sorry, but you know, you have to look at these kind of things in a certain way. You know, whatever I say about the MCU, you can't. Henry Cavill cannot put himself in the same position as Robert Downey Jr., who can say, I want 125 mil, right? You can't. He is not in that position. Remember, Man of Steel made like 500 million or something at the box office. Okay, that's good, right? But you know, Superman is a popular character, but he's not as popular as people think, right? He's not this kind of $2.5 billion character that people, you know, that people gonna go for. So he can't go there and command like, I want to make this much money and that much money or whatever. You know, it's a very, very kind of different situation. And I'm sorry to kind of always bring it back to wrestling, but I'm bringing back to wrestling there again, because I was listening to this podcast where from Stone Cold Steve Austin, and he was talking about how he had somebody on there, I can't remember who it was, but they were talking about all the new guys there at the moment, right? And Vince McMahon has this kind of thing where he's like, are they actually popular or are they internet popular? Right. And it's kind of like you have some people who have huge amounts of internet chatter about them, huge amounts of, you know, people making comments and blah, blah. And it seems like on the surface of it, these people are super popular. Right. But actually, when you're talking about a business, you're talking about, do they buy all the T-shirts? Do they buy our DVDs? Do they buy our pay-per-views? Blah, blah. That's what Vince McMahon's thinking about. Do they do all of that? Now, if you're talking about somebody like Henry Cavill, then you can say, okay, on 10,000 YouTube videos, there are people saying bring back Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
Right. Does that translate to Blu-ray purchases?
Well, yeah.
Ticket sales
don't do great. But then The Witcher was real popular. That was like a big deal. So, you know, but maybe it's The Witcher, the name that sold that. I don't know.
And the thing is that it's always difficult to say. For me, these are always on different scales, because you kind of think, okay, you've got somebody who's bought a subscription to Netflix and something comes as the newest thing on Netflix and they just automatically go and say, right, this is the newest thing, let me go and watch it, right? It's a very different situation to being like, okay, I have to get out of my seat, get in the car, go down to the cinema, go watch a film, whatever. I think it's a very different way of kind of you know, engaging popularity for that, and that is, you know, it's an interesting thing. So that was one bit. The other thing was, which I thought was interesting, because we talked about this a lot in terms of are Marvel going to be bringing back like these Daredevil and Punisher and all this kind of stuff. Marvel has started advertising for a deaf female actress, right?
How? Now I'm all for representation, but how do you direct a deaf actor? Even like how do they communicate? Cut
sign language, I guess.
Huh?
sign language, I guess. Sign language.
You're gonna have to have somebody, an assistant, doing it. It's extra cost, but then you have to interpret what's being said, and hopefully that the sign language person is doing it accurately to what you're trying to describe. Like, it sounds like a headache. Like, I don't think it's necessary to that degree. Now, someone who is deaf may disagree with that, but I think when you're dealing with something like that, it's just, it stretches it. It's gonna elongate that process of filming way longer than it needs to be, because it's gonna more obstacles. It's just too much.
I think they've got that situation where, you know, if you've got a particular character that somebody's playing, right, then they've got this new thing in their head that is like, okay, the character must, the actor or actress must be like the character, so there must be, you know, a deaf or trans, or if you've got a gay character, it must be a gay actor, you know, blah blah, or, you know, Arab must play an Arab, or, you know, that kind of stuff, you know, because that's the new kind of thing there nowadays. But
get it with race, and I guess I guess it does make sense as well when it comes to sexuality as well, in terms of, you know, because there isn't a lot of opportunities and parts for people of that persuasion, or, you know, or orientation, should I say. But yeah, when it comes to like deaf, or if you're blind, then you really kind of, because like, imagine if they're doing it with the Lord of the Rings, they're remaking for Amazon. Is there a case now that they're gonna actually try and find, they're not gonna actually have Hobbit effects? They're actually just gonna get little people instead now to get around that?
I don't know. It's a difficult one. Well, the thing is, Scarlett Johansson had a whole thing about this, didn't she? She was like, why should I be excluded from acting a certain role because I've not this orientation or whatever. She's like, I'm an actress and I'm paid to act in a certain way, right? And I think that was because she's playing, she was cast as like a trans woman or something like that. I think it was.
And it was scrapping or something. I think
and there was a whole big thing about that. The only one that I can kind of remember, and it is a DC character, is the guy. Okay, don't have a go at me, because I don't know if you're meant to say guy or woman or whatever, who played Jericho in Titans, is mute in real life.
No, I don't think he was. He was a woman, born a woman in real life.
Yeah, but he's actually deaf mute in real life as well.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so you know, when this kind of like trying to speak and stuff like that, it's actually a real thing.
Oh, I thought that was just acting.
This person's like that. So I guess it could be done. And what we're really talking about is potentially people are saying, are they casting for Echo, which is in Daredevil, is a Daredevil character? Are they casting for Echo, which then means is Daredevil coming in? I don't know. And this is for Disney Plus, by the way, that they're casting for this. So if Echo's in it, is potentially they're going to be an appearance by Daredevil at some point. I think that Daredevil point is not. I don't think that's coming back anytime soon.
Nah,
but
I think you can't suddenly have a Disney Plus PG version of that Daredevil show, because it will just. Who wants to watch that? Part of what gave that its appeal is that it was gritty and dark and just grounded, like a real street level, real world sort of character. Yeah.
You know, one of the bits in that in the third series, my like favorite thing as a DC fan was like basically when he's like annihilating Kingpin, right? He's eventually annihilating Kingpin. And he goes up to him and he goes, "I beat you," like that. He's like shouting at him. It's like literally like when Batman was saying to Superman, like, you know, and it's just absolute like look, I have done it. I am the guy who's, you know, it's like, remember the guy who defeat you. I am him, man. Yeah, just you know, I think the only kind of thing of that level that we've got that is going to be coming out that is that kind of bloody and dramatic and stuff is going to be The Boys next season.
And is it? It's taking so long.
Yeah, and you know, these things are taking forever to film there now anyway. But yeah, that's the next thing I guess that we're going to see. So yeah, we will see that at some point. So apart from that, we haven't got a great deal of other news that is going on, but every single week we always get new stuff that is coming. So no Star Wars stuff for you guys, but I'm sure next week there will be something there. So
yeah, not much has been happening in the galaxy far, far away this week. So next week.
But you never know. So guys, if you have something to say about the topics there today, you can leave us a message on the YouTube channel, or you can basically put on stuff on our Facebook page, which is DCVS Marvel Podcast, or email us on dcvsmarvelpodcast@gmail.com. Ed's, like I said, is on a ridiculous amount of podcasts, man. So if you want to tell the guys what podcasts you're on there as well, so they can catch you on other stuff there.
Well, you mentioned it a bunch of times. You know, if you're into the pro wrestling, you're into that. Want to know what's been going on, all the scandals and upsets and madness that's going on there, check out Wrestling Ruckus. You can see it here on the Voltron Network YouTube channel if you're watching the video, or just the audio on all podcasting platforms. And there's also Talking at the Movies, so all your movie news and TV news, same thing. Voltron Network for the video, podcasting platforms for the audio.
What's your old versus new this
yeah, that's kind of like a spin-off of the Talking at the Movies, like a little bonus thing where we just kind of compare original movies and the remakes of those movies. So we'll unearthing a whole bunch of stuff we didn't even realize that was a remake. Like I didn't know True Lies was a remake of an old film. Yeah, it's a French.
Okay.
Yeah, Big with Tom Hanks is a remake of a French film. Like there's all of these mad films that we just didn't know existed that we're just digging at. This weekend, we're doing the Scarface, the original Scarface from the 30s, which I really enjoyed it. I'm not gonna lie, I did not think of.
Is it in black and white?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And way more of that Al Pacino Scarface is in that old 1930s Scarface than you'd imagine it would be. But yeah.
Okay.
Really
okay. Interesting, man. Have you done Ocean's 11 yet?
Oh yeah.
Are you going to do that at some point?
It's on the list, man. It's on the list, definitely.
Yeah. That's the thing. I really want to see just one, I guess, that is like, a really horrendous remake, or really horrendous original one that's been remade really well, man. So that would be the best thing. But yeah, guys, check all of those out there, and we'll see you again next time.